thing which is important for doing that. Sorry, without mic, is it okay? I think so. With mic, it is too irritating. Correct? Sorry for my voice. So what I feel is, what is most important for doing projects is fundraising. So which I will be discussing with you all in about 10 minutes now. What are the ways of fundraising, etc. etc. Now, fundraising, you have been hearing about fundraising. Okay, thanks. You will do it. You have been hearing about fundraising since yesterday. It's been going on. It's a high way of telling, it's a very smart way, a professional way of telling, carrying a begging bowl. You are professional भीक मागतो. असं म्हटलं जातं. पण भीक मागणं एका चुकीचं गोष्ट नाही आहे. सगळं लोक आपल्या आपल्या आयुष्यात कधी ना कधी आपण भीक मागतोच. But we don't like to say भीक मागतोय. Whether you take a loan or you ask from someone some money, it's a professional way of doing. So this is also what fundraising is all about. But I'm not talking about TRF. This is for your local projects. Keep it in mind. I'm not going to that big. Okay, because I'm speaking only for 10 minutes. Okay, coming back, what I will be discussing about, or we would be discussing rather, it will be why we require fundraising. Obviously, when we have something to do fundraising, we have to plan. That goes without saying. Then what are the methods we can do fundraising? Then how, most important point, after you do the methods, accepting of funds. Now you start getting funds, but how you accept it, what are the things you have to follow for accepting the funds, which is very important. How you distribute the funds. And then comes the stewardship and sustainability. This is also a very important aspect of any project you do. I am not talking about fundraising. Everybody must have touched upon it. I will be touching upon it related to fundraising. Now, okay. Now first part, as I said, is goes on planning. Now as any project requires planning, this also requires planning. Now what it says, now identify the fundraising needs. So what you will have to do is, it can be a collective project, what you are planning to do in the year, or it could be an individual signature project of your club, but you have to identify what is the fund needs is required. Then once you identify the needs, or whatever you want, then you have to set some goals to achieve it. Without that, it will not work out. So you have to achieve some smart goals. Something like specific, measurable, actionable, realistic and time-bound. Obviously, this is common for all type of management goals. This is similar to all in any of the projects or anything you do. This you have to do it. In continuing to planning, the next part, once you assign your goal, then you should know what is the budget, whether it is collective way of doing it or for a particular. You should have it. When you do your budget, obviously you should think what are your strengths and weaknesses. I know you would also must have faced, even in your professional career or in your clubs. You will have people telling you, अरे क्या यार, 2 लाख रुपए में ऐसे लेके आ, वो होता नहीं है, इतना आसान नहीं है, 10 पैसे भीख मांगने के लिए बहुत मेहनत करना पड़ता है. So it is difficult to get 10 पैसे. So it is not easy. So you have to plan your budget, how much you want, how you do it. Then you should get your donor information. किधर से लाएंगे पैसे, कहाँ से लाएंगे? जो बोलता है मैं 2 लाख रुपया लाता हूँ, तो you ask him from where do you get it? Then you will think twice कि क्या बताऊँ. Then comes create some PR tools. This is another way of raising your funds. You do some publicity. It can be through banners, it can be through volunteers, it can be word to mouth, anything can be. And then assign appropriate responsibilities. As I said, in a club, you will come across, in your club at least, you will have a lot of members. Some people might be talkative, some people might be good in collecting funds, some people are silent, but still they can do some work. So your job would be to identify who you need for doing fundraising. I am only talking about fundraising. Others, you can do it for others also. Then comes follow-up meeting. Obviously, when you do all this, you have to follow it up. Am I right or wrong? Okay. Now next comes is how we get the funds. You started the goals, you did the planning, you set your goals, you found out your expenses, then you should know the methods, how you will collect the funds. So first is approach corporate. This is very common. Everybody says, since yesterday you have been listening, corporate को मिलो, CSR fund मिलेगा, etc. etc. तो ये कैसा करोगे? That is also important. Then you should have some contact, either a good HR manager, or you should have some good contacts in corporates whom you know, or you can ask district, they can help you out, etc. etc. Second one is individual donors. I would stress upon individual donors because this is something is very everybody of your member of your club can do. For example, if once you discuss about a project, let your each club member talk to his family members. कहीं शादी पे गए, अरे यार मैं रोटरी में हूँ, मैं ये हमारा प्रोजेक्ट्स है. Keep on discussing. Spread the projects which are going word to mouth. Probably you will get somebody. 10 लोगों से बात किया था, 100 रुपया देगा. Tiny drops of water make a mighty ocean. So collect करो. पैसा तो जमा होगा ना. Ultimately you have to collect funds. So this is easier way also of doing it. You can tell in your society. You can talk to your friends, professional friends. हो सकता है प्रोफेशनल फ्रेंड से जाके बॉस के पास जाएगा, बॉस बोलेगा चल यार मैं देता हूँ. Anything can happen. So this is very important that aspect. Next comes the government schemes. Now this government scheme is something which is mostly goes untapped. Now for example, there are a lot of schemes which are available, but most of them are not utilized. So you can find out these government schemes and find out what are they and where, how can you get these funds used for this. That you should use your own clubs or through bureaucracy or local politicians, etc. etc. Because government has funds, they can't spend it, but they can't implement it because they don't have manpower. So you can be a good gap in between, fill the gap, fill in the blanks, you know. Then comes events or activity show. This for a bigger clubs or even for the clubs, anybody can plan for some events. It can be a fashion show, music show, etc. 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 Collect some funds. Then partnering with NGO, this is there. Then comes the last one, comes the lucky draw. ये तो है, in other words called मटका. कुछ नाम बोलो, कुछ collect करो पैसे, so you get some ticket, put some good price and try to collect some funds. This is another way of doing it. You got the methods. Now accepting and distributing of funds. This is very important. आगे के slide को सबको मालूम होता है. ये बहुत important होता है. Because इसमें क्या होता है? It is because when people donate money, they have faith in you and in your club. Especially an individual, when he gets some money, वो हो सकता है कि he might not see your club, he might see you as one-to-one. So it becomes equally your responsibility, and it becomes it's a very delicate. It's in people's emotion. So you have to see that money which you have collected is used properly for that funds. बहुत सा clubs में होता है कि ये funds collect कर लिया, project हुआ ही नहीं, वो चलो यार TRF में दे देते. It's not work out. It should not be done. You have to collect this funds for whatever projects, whether you are doing it, ये project नहीं तो दूसरा कुछ, but करना important है. और जिस project के लिए आपने collect किया है, you see that you will do it. Then accepting of funds, creation of a trust, it has to be done through trust only. Consider address local laws for fundraising. FCRA for funds, you have to, if you have getting some money from foreign, then you should follow these rules. The district there are people in the district who can help you out. Distributing of funds, have a clear idea of fund distribution, proper documented records, ensure club and financial. This is very common, which you have to maintain anyway, and when you receive the funds. Then comes the stewardship. It is nothing but responsibility, process, and you can use the technology to help. This is very important, which you know. Then comes sustainability. This is very important. The sustainability is because you have collected the fund, so you should like to expand it while it is done. So you can have a function after successful completion of a project, and then you can call you can call the donors, and then you can felicitate them. Then you can also discuss, take the feedback from them. Any project, you can make a list what went right, what went wrong, so that you can note it down. It can be used for other projects and improve upon it. So that is what sustainability is all about. And this is what it is. Thank you very much. I hope it was. Yes.
Only one thing.
Sure.
2 slides prior to this. No, not even. It was mentioned that the first point was regarding formation of the trust.
Yes.
Now the clubs are new.
Correct.
But and definitely there is no trust that has been formed.
Okay.
However, you are getting some funds for certain projects which has fortunately come for you.
Okay.
How do you handle this in case of the absence of trust and it is not possible to form the trust in another year or so?
I know.
How do you group these funds appropriately so that you are not bound by the books of laws and no questions asked?
Absolutely. Now, first thing is, if that kind of funds you are getting and if you don't have a trust, the easiest way of doing it, there are many clubs who are doing this. What it is that you can, now for example, you are building a toilet block. Just say for that. Now for toilet block you have to pay some contractor some money for making the raw material. You have the list of donors. You can ask that donors to pay money directly to that contractor. And you can call him for the function and felicitate him, कि Baba, he paid money for this and this and this. So there is no harm done. This is the way you can do it till you form the trust. But you can't do mega events with this.
That's why. This concept was there, but if the company is ready to give you, as a club, 20 lakh of rupees, how do you handle this in structure?
Yeah, you can't do that project. You can only, they can only, if they have 20 lakhs, then you can, if they are giving, you have to tell them openly that first they have to give the vendors what they, you can be a felicitator for completing that project. They will spend the money in their name, but the project will be done. Sorry.
Yeah, one thing that has come up is, the club that has been formed is through one sponsor club. So can the money go to the sponsor club and then you
Yes.
Yeah, many clubs are
Many clubs are doing that.
like
But that again depends how good relation you have with the club.
Like- when Rotary Club of New Kalyan was
lot of clubs are doing that. That way you can do it.
my club and
Gentlemen, someone add something.
No, I was suggesting that.
Okay.
You can take help of other clubs.
Correct.
see, this is regarding accounting procedure. There will be separate sessions maybe in next. It might have happened also in the morning itself. So don't see that rules are not breached because government rules are very tight. So ensure that you follow the entire rules. And like you said, that many clubs are collaborating with big clubs. Like my clubs, North, we have collaboration with Kalyan, new Kalyan Club. And we had a lot of clubs from Mumbai also because we are having FCI also. And of course, it is not now mandatory. And earlier we have US also. So a lot of clubs, they come together and do the projects. Nothing else. Yeah, thank you Ravi for enlightening on this very important topic. May I request to accept a small token of gratitude. Thank you. Next speaker is a very senior Rotarian from Rotary Club of Thane Hills, Suchita Vege.